certainly one of his greatest moments in league football, and the last time, unfortunately, that many of us will see Graham Farmer.
Mel Whinnen holds the club record, of course, of 371 games, and the career spans from 1960 to 1977. Mel, being that you played so many games, you hold the club record, and so many of your teammates, not only from our club but other clubs as well, have headed over east to the big money and the big time and that type of thing. But you stayed loyal to West Perth, and what would you put this down to, actually?
Peter, I had a chance to work in Victoria, or in Geelong in particular, back in about 1963. I was there over the off-season for 3 months or so, and I must admit I didn't like the conditions there that well. I found that in the morning you'd go along to work in shirt sleeves and come home in a greatcoat. So I liked the conditions here. I sort of had a great liking for the club, and I guess it would have been a lot harder playing footy there as well. But I did get an offer at one stage to go east, but thought that my chances were best at West Perth, and I certainly wasn't sorry.
What sticks in the mind most is the most enjoyable of those premierships?
Well, it's very hard to say, Peter. I think premierships stick in your mind overall of all the highlights of a career like I've had. I couldn't distinguish any one from the other. I think premierships are the highlight because you work so hard for the year to get to the grand final, and if you're lucky enough to win it, it's a great boost not only for the club in total but for every person that participates individually. So I don't think I could pick anyone except perhaps to say, certainly as a big memory for me, when Polly Farmer retired. So it was great to be able to sort of cap off a great career, playing career that Polly had at that stage, to win that particular premiership. But I think overall premierships are really the highlight of anybody's career.
Right, that was 71 Polly's last game.
Sorry, 71, that's right, yes.
But back to 1960, you took over the centre position from Don Marinko, and going back to those early days, did you learn much from Don before you took over that position?
I guess I was a little lucky. I started in Colts in 1960 and ended up playing a couple of games of league in the same year, and I don't think Don was with us for many years after that. He may have even gone to East Perth in 1961, but I certainly learned a lot from all of the experienced players in those days, not only Don, who was certainly helped me tremendously, but people like the Mannix Heels and the Eddie Wiles, the Barry Armstrongs, the Blue Foleys. They were all there when younger players needed those older players for a bit of help when things were not going so well. So I would like to thank all the older players of those days, all the experienced players of those days, that were able to sort of help me in my early days.
Right, well, going back into your later career, of course, there was that great MBE award. What do you remember about that great occasion?
Well, I think the first I heard about it was when I got a ring one day to say would I accept such an award, and that really came out of the blue. It's the sort of award that you don't even think about. I guess you hope that you might win a club award, or you hope that you might win a Sandover medal if you're lucky, but to be considered for an MBE was just something quite out of the ordinary, and I guess well, that was quite inspiring overall, well, I felt very proud to be able to sort of even be considered for something like that.
And one final question, Mel. Of course, Bill Dempsey came back to coaching this year, and the centenary year is a great year for him to have him back. And
well, I think it's a little remote. I do get tied up a little in my work. It's very hard for me to get away from that. I think if you want to do any coaching, that it's something that you've got to have the time for and be prepared to put in the time, or you're not going to get the results for it. I hope that I can help in any little way possible in making sure that our centenary year is a successful one for us here at West Perth, but I don't think I'll be sort of getting involved in